we're going to be talking about today is leading with confidence and owning the room. Our masterclass for today is leading with confidence and owning the room. My name is Maxine Legal. I welcome all of you. So glad that you were able to join us. Thank you for taking the time to register and to participate in our masterclass for today. So a little bit about me. I'm founder and CEO of Thrive Inclusively. My company is dedicated to empowering leaders and organizations to thrive through effective leadership, fostering health equity, driving organizational transformation, and focusing on leadership development. I offer coaching, cultural transformation, trainings, webinars, workshops, facilitation, and keynotes. So I do a lot. And I enjoy actually doing this work. I have a passion for it. I have over 20 years of dynamic experience driving organizational development and transformation across healthcare, nonprofit, and also the corporate sectors. And I'm passionate about things like inclusion, engagement, and developing really strong, inclusive, smart, engaging leaders as well. And that's what led me to our topic for today, because leadership does involve an aspect of confidence. So glad you're here. Again, this masterclass will be recorded and the recording will be available to you. I will post it on LinkedIn and I'll likely send the link out to everyone who attended as well. I want to let you know that this is meant to be an empowering space. All right, we're here to grow together. All right, and also want to encourage you to be open and willing to challenge your thinking as well. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, but it's better to come into these types of spaces with an open mind. All right, so I love quotes. And so the first quote I want us to think about is from Henry Ford. All right, one of the most famous car manufacturers in history, specifically here in America. And he's quoted as saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. All right. So what are we going to be doing today? Our goal is to make sure that you understand the mindset and behaviors that drive confident leadership. We're going to identify personal confidence blockers. You're going to help me do that. And we're going to learn how to own the room with presence, clarity, and intentionality. And we're going to leave with 2 to 3 actionable tools that you can use immediately. Right? You don't want to come to this and then not have the time to actually, or not have the tools when you walk away. I don't want it to be that was a great masterclass. What'd you learn? I don't know, but it was just great. I want you to walk away with some tools that you can use going forward. All right. So let's talk a little bit about confidence. And I'm wondering if I'm going to stop the share for a second. And I have a poll that I'm going to put up. And I want to ask you guys a question. All right. So what made you join us today? What made you join us today? You should be able to see the poll. I hope that you can see it. If you can't see it, give me a thumbs up. All right, but what made you join us today? You struggle with having confidence? I have some confidence, but I need to grow in the area. I'm confident, but I want to continue to grow. Or I'm here because it's free and I'm just hungry to learn. So love to see what your feedback is on this. All right, so I pretty much have everyone. You guys have filled that out. So let's see here. I'm going to end the poll and then hopefully I should be able to share it. All right. So let's see. Most of you are right there in that second category. I have some confidence, but I need to grow in this area. And then a few of you, I'm confident, but I want to continue to grow. And then 2 of you, I'm here because it's free and I'm hungry to learn. Thank you for doing that. That gives me an idea of where each of you are, and I can kind of level set so I understand the group that I'm talking to. Did you guys see the results when I had them up? Good, good, good. All right, very well. So let's jump back into our slide deck. All right, so let's talk a little bit about confidence. Give my screen a second to load up here. And I want to tell you a story about someone named M. Let's just go with M. All right. M has worked in healthcare for a long time, but M remembers being at a specific organization where she was asked to attend a meeting on a weekly basis. It was Joint Commission Prep. And she was asked to attend this meeting, and she'd go to the meeting, and she kind of understood what they were talking about. But when they asked questions or asked for feedback, M was catatonic. Like she said, I'm not talking in this meeting. If I say anything, they might know that I don't know anything, or I might make a fool of myself. And so for several weeks, she went to this meeting, never said a word, never said a thing. In fact, there were instances where she was in the meeting and people would ask questions and give answers, and M knew the questions that should have been asked. And then she knew the answers to some of those questions. But she kept leaving the meeting frustrated, time after time, not speaking. They, she eventually moved to a new role and had the opportunity to lead in another department. And this time, even though it was a similar role, it was a different organization. But M said to herself, it's not good for me to continue to go to meetings and not speak. And M started working for someone who said, you're not going to go to meetings and not speak. And after a while, M began to think about her confidence and said, if I'm in meetings and people are saying what I think, saying what I thought, and they're doing the things that I would do, maybe I should speak and open up my mouth and give value. And so M started doing that. And guess what happened? The more M started doing it, the more M started doing it. And the more comfortable she became in being in these spaces and having more confidence. But it started with a decision to be able to move forward with confidence, even though she may not have felt that. So M is actually me. I remember starting out in my career and being petrified of talking in meetings. Didn't want to do it, thought I would say something, ruin my career. But what would happen is I wasn't adding value to any of the spaces that I was in. When I went to work for someone different, they had no patience for that. And they would actually ask questions of the room to get people speaking. And that helped working with that type of leader. But over time, the only way that I could build confidence was to do the things that I was afraid of and to lean in on those things so that confidence came as a result of moving to a space of confidence. So I don't know if that story resonates with any of you, but let me ask you this. Have you ever worked for a leader who was confident? Ever worked for a leader who was confident? All right. So if you worked for a leader who was confident, what I'd love for you to do right now is put in the chat, what words would you use to describe that confident leader? What words would you use to describe that confident leader? I'm going to stop the share so that I can see the chat because I want to see what's going on. But what words would you use to describe that confident leader? What was it about them? What did they do? What made them special? What made them confident? Outspoken. Thanks, Tamika. Strong presence in the room. Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else? Trusted. Thank you, Victoria. Bold. All right, all right. Yeah. Knowledgeable. Yeah, thanks, Eva. Anyone else? These are great words. Thank you so much. I'm seeing these coming in. Yes, I would agree with you. So far, I have outspoken, strong presence in the room, trusted, bold, knowledgeable, expert on the topic. All right, so these are great words that you're giving me that you would use to describe a confident leader. Thank you for that. I have a few more words I'd like for us to explore. And if I could have done it in real time, I would have taken what you've given me and added it to this slide. But I thank you for that. These are the words that I came up with as I thought about what a confident leader is. Articulate, engaging, clear, open, kind, empathic, and authentic. What are your thoughts about those? Do any of these words resonate with you? Do you see that, you've seen leaders who were the things that we put in the chat, but there were also these things as well? All right, so I'm going to keep moving. So there are misconceptions and mindsets we have about what confidence is. So why don't we take a few minutes to think about what some of those misconceptions might be? For example, confidence equals being loud or outspoken. There's this misconception that only extroverts are confident, when in reality, confidence isn't about volume, it's about presence. It's because you're the loudest person in the room doesn't necessarily mean you're the most confident person in the room, all right? Quiet, thoughtful people can be deeply confident. It's about believing in your value and not dominating a room. That's one misconception. I'll give you another one. Confidence means never feeling fear or doubt. Okay. Misconception. Confident people are fearless. Well, in reality, confident people feel fear but move forward anyway. They acknowledge self-doubt but don't let it define them. It's courage, not the absence of fear. Now, I don't know how many people have Amazon Prime, but there was a show that, or there is a show that they're streaming on David, the biblical story of David and Goliath. And there's a scene where David is about to go up on the battlefield against Goliath, and one of his brothers asked him, "Aren't you afraid?" And he said, "Yes, I'm afraid, but I still have to do this." And that resonated with me when I saw that in the show, because I thought that that was so powerful that they put that in there. The reason why I'm telling you the story is because it kind of aligns with what I just said. Never feeling fear or doubt. Confident people feel fear a lot of times. They're not fearless, but they make a decision to move forward anyway. Let's do another one. Confidence looks the same for everyone. Well, we're not the same people, so it would be hard for confidence to look the same for each and every person. There's a misconception. There's one right way to show confidence: a firm handshake, eye contact, and a strong voice. In reality, confidence is cultural, contextual, and personal. For example, in some cultures, humility and quiet leadership are strong signs of confidence. It's about authenticity, not mimicry. Well, trying to be like someone else. It's really kind of finding your own confidence, right? And being authentic in that space. And then this is the last one: confidence. You either have it or you don't. Well, there's a misconception that confidence is a fixed trait. You're born with it. You either had it when you were born or you don't have it. When in reality, confidence is learned and practiced. According to a psychologist, Albert Bandura's concept of self-efficacy, confidence builds as we take action and see ourselves succeed, even in small ways. And so when we move through this topic, we want to be able to understand that there are misconceptions and mindsets we might have around confidence that may not necessarily be true. And then I want to ask you, what other misconceptions can you think of? What other misconceptions can you think of? Anyone have a misconception they can think of? You can put it in the chat. I'll share one. You can also unmute. You're free to talk, but I'll share a misconception that I had about confidence, right? Sometimes people confuse confidence with competition, right? This concept that I just have to be the best in the room, and people see that as confidence. I wouldn't equate that as the same thing, because the thing about competition is competition will always lead you to try to be the best. And then if someone else even shows an inkling that they might be better than you, you're always going to be trying to compete with that person. Or we've seen in a lot of workspaces where people bring other people down because they see them as a threat. And so when you think that confidence is a matter of competition, then that's a dangerous place, because then you may create a culture where you're bullying people or bringing people down because you just don't want them to be better than you are. Rather, confidence is a little bit different. Confidence says, I can look around this room and I'm showing up as my best self. And if someone else shows up as their best self too, well, more power to them. But I'm confident in who I am. Any other misconceptions you can think of when it comes to confidence? No pressure. I can continue talking, but I just wanted to open up the space. I think it's because I said we were recording that no one wants to talk. But anyway, okay, go ahead, Donna.
I think that, hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I think a misconception of confidence is that confidence equals arrogance. And it really isn't. It isn't. It's a different type of strength.
Right.
And in fact, I think truly confident people are not arrogant. You know, they know themselves, they're self-assured.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it's, confidence equals arrogance.
Right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Donna. Wonderful. Anyone else?
Yeah, and on the other side of that, Donna, folks think confident people think that they're all, that confidence means that they're right. Just because you have the confidence to speak up all the time in a meeting,
Yeah.
that means that whatever you're saying is accurate. No, they have the confidence to put forth their ideas, but that's not to say that that means that there's accuracy there. It just means that you're bold enough and confident enough to speak up, to put forth what you're thinking. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna, and thank you, Tamika. Anyone else before I jump back into the slides? I'm learning from you. I should have emailed all of you first before I did this presentation, and I should have added what you said, shamefully. Okay, let's jump back in. All right. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing what other misconceptions we might have around confidence. And please, as things resonate with you as we go through this masterclass, feel free to put it in the chat, because the point is that we're here to learn from each other as well. So why this topic, right? Why are we talking about this? Well, it's for personal and professional growth. The belief in one's own ability directly influences how people think, feel, and perform. So the greater I feel about my ability, that's going to overflow or pour out into how I think, how I feel, how I show up in spaces. The other reason why this is important is because imposter syndrome has become pervasive. Though it began with women, and I actually took this from research back from 1978. Though it began with women, later studies have shown that this applies broadly across genders, professions, and races. And then I think it's important for us to talk about, because leadership does require a certain confidence, right? Self-efficacy, again, the belief that you can believe in your own ability. Self-efficacy and confidence are predictive of leadership success and job performance. You feel better about yourself when you believe in yourself. It's just a natural thing, right? And that impacts how you show up and how you think and how you feel and how you perform as well. So let me ask you this question. Is confidence a feeling or an action? Is confidence a feeling or an action? So I have another poll. I'm just going to pull that up. All right. Let me go back here. Is confidence a feeling or an action? Hope you can see the poll that's up on the screen. I'd love to know. It's a feeling, it's an action, it's both, or I'm here to learn that from you, Maxine. You tell me. That's why I showed up. But which one do you think it is? All right. Is it a feeling? Is it an action? Or is the answer yes? Is it both? All right. Okay. I think we have everyone. And so, in the interest of time, I'm going to share what your answers have been. All right. So, most of you, some people say it's a feeling. All right, we have someone who believes it's a feeling, and then most of you leaned towards it's both. All right, and no one chose the final one, so that's good. All right, with that means that you're thinking about this and you've kind of thought about what confidence is. All right, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to jump back into our slides and let's talk about it. All right, is it a feeling or is it an action? All right, so I like to go to the dictionary when it comes to defining things, because that helps my brain think, and that's exactly what I did. All right, I went to Merriam Dictionary, and this is what it says. What is confidence? A feeling or consciousness of one's power or of reliance on one's circumstance. All right, example is she had perfect confidence in her ability to succeed. All right. Someone else said a faith or belief that one will act in a right, proper, or effective way, have confidence in a leader. So we're seeing it as a feeling. We're seeing it as a faith or a belief. All right. Next one says confidence is a belief in oneself, the conviction that one has the ability to meet life's challenges and to succeed, and the willingness to act accordingly. Being confident requires a realistic sense of one's capabilities and feeling secure in that knowledge. So if you look at this slide, you see a lot about feeling, you see a lot about faith. All right. And I agree with this slide. I really do. But I did a little research, and you got anyone know who this lady is? This is Mel Robbins. She's like all over the place. She's pretty cool. And this is what she says about confidence. She defines confidence not as something you have, but as something you do. Right? According to her, confidence is a skill you build through action, not a personality trait or something that you're born with. Now, I like what Mel said, but I also like what Merriam Dictionary said. So I'd like to think that when we talk about confidence, why can't it be both? Why can't it be a feeling or an action that leads to a feeling or a feeling that leads to an action? Right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Depends on the situation, but I do think that it can, in fact, be both. When we lead with confidence, we operate from a mindset of self-trust and clarity. We intentionally lean into our strengths, even when doubt whispers. We take bold action, especially when it feels uncomfortable, because we know that on the other side of that is growth. And that's the point, right? It's really figuring out that if I get past this fear, or if I look past my fear and move towards confidence, what's waiting for me on the other side of that? And what will that mean for me? And what will that mean for my future? So there are confidence blockers. All right. There are confidence blockers. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? Okay. There's the inner critic. And we talked about that last month when we did our masterclass, right? Silencing that inner critic. What is the inner critic? Okay. It's that internal voice that constantly judges and questions everything you do. I'm going to apply for this job. Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to apply for the job? You know you're not going to get it. You're wasting your time. That's the inner critic. Then we have imposter syndrome. We've talked about that, right? This feeling that, oh my gosh, I'm in this room. Everyone's going to know I'm a fraud. They're going to figure it out in a matter of time. They're just going to find me out. And last month, we talked about some of the people who have imposter syndrome that we wouldn't expect to have it, like Maya Angelou. She said that after publishing several books, she kept thinking, after this book, they're going to find out that I'm a fraud. Maya Angelou had these thoughts. All right. So a lot of people struggle with that. And then a fixed mindset can be a confidence blocker. This belief that your abilities are set in stone and you'll only go but so far, that you can't grow, learn new things, or improve. So having that kind of mindset will hold you back from continuing to try new things and building your confidence. And then there's that fear of failure, right? I tried it once and I fail, I will likely fail again. That's a dangerous place to be because if you try again, you likely get better. I think it was Alexander Graham Bell or someone who said, I haven't failed. I just found out a whole bunch of ways not to do something. And I'm just going to keep going. And these are the things that if we let it can get in the way of our confidence. All right. So what are your confidence blockers? You don't have to put it in the chat, but I want you to think for yourself, right? I want you to turn this like inside and think for yourself, hey, Maxine, what are the things that are blocking me? What's getting in my way? And be honest with yourself. And then ask, are those things really true? So Marcus Garvey is quoted as saying, with confidence, you have won before you have started. Once again, I love quotes, but I love this one from Marcus Garvey. With confidence, you've won before you have started. So what are the next steps? Well, I promised you that I'd frame it for you. I give you context, but I also promised I would give you some strategies. So why don't we jump into that right now? So strategy one, when we talked about confidence blockers, really what we were talking about is our mindset. And so what you want to do is you want to challenge your mindset. Before you even walk into a room, it happens that you start to think things and get in your own way. And so before you even walk in, even as you wake up that morning, you have to continuously lean in and challenge your inner critic and challenge stinking thinking, because we talk ourselves out of so many things before we actually show up in the spaces where we're asked to perform or to present or to do specific things. And while you're challenging this, ask yourself, when you're thinking these things, is this thought really true? The other way that you can know that it's your inner critic, if you're saying things to yourself that you would not say to a friend, chances are that's an inner critic, because no one wants a friend to call them and say, you're going to fail. It's not going to work out for you. Who wants that call from a friend? That's not a friend. So you have to challenge those types of thoughts that come into your mind. And then I want to give you a strategy that I've used, which is the 5 whys, right? So when a thought comes into your mind, right? I'm not good enough for this presentation. I want you to walk through the 5 whys. Why? Because I might make mistakes and people will judge me. Why? Because I'm afraid of looking incompetent in front of others. Why? Because I had a bad experience in the past where I was criticized for a presentation. Why? Because I associate criticism with not being valuable. Why? Because I often feel like I had to prove myself to be accepted when I was younger. See where it comes from? All right. What you are struggling with may not even be true, but if you ask those 5 whys, you go back to something that happened years ago, that time has passed and you've grown and you've moved forward. So having that same kind of thinking isn't realistic and it's holding you back. So don't be afraid to use those 5 whys and challenge your mindset. And again, it's really about what happens in your mind before you enter the room. All right. Strategy 2, take action before you feel ready. All right. If you wait until you feel ready, you may never do it. I'm just going to let you know that. If you wait until you're ready, my coach says to me, if you waited for it to be perfect, you waited too long. All right. When we put it off and say, I want to, it's not ready, it's not ready. Listen, if I waited to be ready, you wouldn't even be on this masterclass because I would never be ready to do this. All right. If I waited to be ready to launch my company, I would not have launched it because I did not feel ready at any point in time. All right. Action precedes confidence, not the other way around. And so if you want to do something, you want to move in that direction and not hold yourself back because you're afraid. You want to take the action before you feel ready. I stole this from Mel Robbins, but she believes in the 5-second rule. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then act. So you're in that meeting and they ask a question and you know that you know that you know the answer, right? And you will sit there and talk yourself out of it. She says, no, use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then act. They ask the question, pause, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and say, I'd like to offer some insight around the question that was just asked. And then answer the question. Because if you sit there and wait, and you know what? Oh, it used to burn me. And I mentioned this earlier. I would get so mad when I'd be in meetings and they would ask things and have conversations. I'd be thinking things and someone would raise their hand and say the exact same thing I was thinking. And everybody in the room was like, that is spectacular. And I'm like, really? I was just thinking, right? That's so frustrating. So a lot of times we have to act, right? To interrupt self-doubt and take small steps forward. Try to use the 5-second rule. All right. So what are some of the actions that we can take? Well, I have some here, right? Offer your insight in that meeting. Volunteer to lead that project. Start that business, all right? Some of you, you've been sitting on a side hustle for who knows how long. Start the side business. Start the business. Apply for that promotion. Oh, I may not get it. Do you know how you will definitely not get that promotion? If you don't apply. And so why not apply? All right. Turn the camera on in that Zoom meeting, right? People will come into Zoom meetings and hide and they never turn on the camera, right? Because they don't want to be called on. They don't want to be seen. But you should be seen. And you should feel confident in coming in, right? And turning on that camera. So these are just some of the things that you can do. I'm going to keep moving. Number 3, practice and prepare. Build confidence through preparation and practice. All right. So confidence grows when you know your stuff. Practice skills regularly. Prepare deeply for meetings, talks, or challenges. Do your homework so that you feel confident with your preparation. And track progress to build momentum. And keep a record of your wins. If you listen, sometimes we would have accomplished so much that we forget how much we've accomplished. And if we don't look back and say, wow, I did this, 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 and this, that's wonderful. Own your wins, own your accomplishments, keep track of it. Because when you look back and see all the things that you've done, then it's easier to move forward with confidence and say, well, I've done that and I've done this. I should be able to do this, this, and that as well. All right. Competence competence breeds confidence. That's from Stephen Covey. All right, so that's something you want to do, right? You want to lean in, you want to build your confidence, do the research. Listen, there are so many different ways to learn right now. There are podcasts, there are books, there are YouTube channels. The amount of information that you can gather on any given topic or any process, you can do that now. I didn't even talk about AI, but you can also use all of these tools to prepare and practice so that when you're coming into these spaces, you feel more competent, and as a result, you'll feel more confident. All right. All right. So let me go to the next one. Surround yourself with encouraging, growth-oriented people. This is key. All right. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, as iron sharpeneth iron. Right? You've heard that, right? You've also heard birds of a feather flock together. You've also heard, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. All of these things are saying the same thing. Right? That's not to say that I want you to be a snob and only hang out with certain types of people. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is make it your business. Be intentional about hanging out with people who bring out the best in you and people who are open and willing to let you bring out the best in them. All right. You don't want to hang out with people who will pull you down, but you want to hang out with people, right, who are on the same journey as you are in terms of accomplishing goals. And the goals might be different, but they're moving in a direction. Confidence is socially reinforced. So spend time with people who reflect your strengths, celebrate your wins, and challenge you to grow. We all have that friend that we can call and you be like, let me tell you what happened. And you'll tell them and will tell you, well, actually, you need to grow in this area. Or actually, you need to challenge yourself around these types of things. Those are the friends you want to have in your corner because they're willing, right? And they are able to help you grow. And they're not threatened by your growth, and you're not threatened by theirs. So ways that you can do this is definitely engage with professional associations. Some of us have ERGs or BERGs at our organizations. You can do that as well. And networking groups. These are great ways to surround yourself with encouraging and growth-oriented people. Since I've started my business, I joined a group called Innovation Women. And that group has been a source of strength for me because there are other women who want to grow their business, who want to be cutting edge, who want to improve. So hanging out with them impacts me and vice versa. And so that's another strategy that you can put into place that'll help build your confidence. Now, remember, the title for this is Leading with Confidence and Owning the Room. So I got to talk about owning the room. That's only fair, right? So what about owning the room? Anyone know who this is? Her name is Carla Harris. She's phenomenal. All right. She has a quote. She says something. She says, "Your authenticity is at the heart of your power. Your authenticity is at the heart of your power." It's phenomenal. If you haven't had a chance to watch her, she has a channel on YouTube. Check her out. She's energizing. All right. But listen to what she says. Your authenticity is at the heart of your power. So I want to give you strategy 5, and that's this. Know and clarify your core values. What I want to have you do is lean in and think about being your authentic self. Now, when you can clarify your core values, whatever that might be, integrity, compassion, um, empathy, maybe it's your faith, maybe it's something centered around what you believe spiritually. When you know and clarify your core values, then the next step is to align your actions with your values. Something happens when that happens, right? When you know your values and you align yourself with your values, you're more authentic because you are who you believe. You are what you believe, I should say. So know yourself, get to know who you are. You can't be authentic if you don't know who you are. You should be journaling. Understand your strengths. Understand what you value and what value you bring. Right? Journal. Go to coaching. It can certainly help you. Coaching is not a matter of looking at what's happened in the past, but really moving you forward. Speak with honesty and intention and be a person of your word. You said you're going to do it, you should do it. And bring your authentic self into every room that you go into. But it starts with understanding what your core values are and aligning your actions with your values. Then you attain a sense of confidence, or even you're more comfortable with yourself because now you're your authentic self. You're not trying to be someone else. And I want to add a few bonus strategies that I would love for you to consider. And that is, I mentioned it before, coaching also helps us on this journey because it helps us challenge the mindsets that we might have. It helps us challenge the inner critic that might be chiseling away at our confidence and holding us back from wanting to do the things that we really want to do. And And so I want to leave that with you. And know this, that leaders who invest in professional coaching experiencing the following benefits: increased self-awareness, improved EQ, greater self-confidence, and strong leadership skills. And so if you are interested in scheduling a discovery call with me, we will put the link in the chat and you can certainly engage with me that way. And I also want to encourage you to join our Thrive Inclusively community. All right, we have a newsletter that we send out monthly. You can scan this QR code, or we'll also put the link for joining our monthly newsletter or community in the chat as well. We encourage you to also join us that way. The name of the newsletter is Lead, Thrive, and Repeat. And it'll give you practical tools and empowering resources to support your leadership, mindset, and growth journey. So, gotta land the plane here. And you know I love quotes. So I want to leave you with this one. This is what Michelle Obama says: your success will be determined by your own confidence and fortitude. Your success will be determined by your own confidence and fortitude. I want you to think about that as we wrap up today. And I want to ask you this. This masterclass is free, but I want to ask you for something. If today's masterclass spoke to you, this is how you can support and share and kind of spread the impact around. Post about your experience on LinkedIn and be sure to tag me, or anywhere on social media, and tag me and say, what did I learn from Maxine's masterclass? If you know a team leader or organization that can use my energy and thought leadership, I am happy to come and be a partner with them. And so let's connect if you'd like to have a deeper conversation about that. And when the YouTube replay drops, please share it with someone, repost it, reshare it so people can hear this message and so we can cause a ripple effect around leading with confidence and owning the room. And finally, you are always welcome to connect with me on any of my social media platforms. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to my link tree, and I'm everywhere. At least I try to be everywhere. All right, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm even on TikTok, and having a lot of fun with that. So feel free to connect with me on any one of those platforms as well. All right. So I want to end with this. You hold value, you are enough, and you can do this. You can own the room and you can lead with confidence. Stay committed to your growth and development. And remember, it is a journey. It is not a destination. It is a journey. It is not a destination. And that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to stop the share. And if any of you, and I want to be respectful of people's time, it is 12:44.